Out of all the work that I did yesterday, I think the biggest trouble that I have right now is the Achilles, I guess, soleus complex, the lower portion of the calf. So yesterday I did a 2K jog. This is the first run I've done basically in, well, certainly this squat cycle, probably 2 years, maybe even more. I've always had the goal of squat and deadlift as my number one, and then a whole bunch of other goals secondary to that. So I always thought running was going to be detrimental to my progress. Yesterday, the thinking behind the jog was to basically loosen up the calf, put some strength in the calf. I had one of you guys tell me, an experienced lifter, one of you guys told me that foot integrity, foot strength, ankle strength is paramount to Olympic weightlifting, to squatting, because it allows you to have more dorsiflexion, more control, less pronation of the ankle. And, as we know, your feet are your base. So if you collapse your arches there, you're more likely to collapse, upstream as well. So I started playing around with calf raises, and then, bumped into a thought of Mike Tyson and the jogging and the skipping and boxing and MMA and all that kind of thing. And I thought, why don't I do a bit of a jog, like a boxer style jog, where you're kind of like shuffling around and you're basically bouncing on the balls of your feet. So you're not running like a marathon runner where you're heel striking. You're just basically, balling it up, right? So you're just bouncing on the balls of your feet. 2K's almost murdered me. So halfway through that, I started getting what I thought was questionable pump, pain, discomfort at the Achilles. And I struggled to kind of squat for the remainder of the session, and then last night they really tightened up, and I had concerns about going to work this morning. But this morning they've kind of loosened up a little bit. I did just a bit more kind of calf raises just to loosen them up, but it got me thinking. That expression that's basically carried over the ages, that's his Achilles heel. So the Achilles heel, we usually use that expression to describe somebody's weakness. His hamstrings are his Achilles heel, or the goalkeeper is that team's Achilles heel, kind of thing. That's the weakness that's going to bring down the whole system. And I started thinking about how that term, that expression carried through the ages. How important is the Achilles? So I'll tell you, from my perspective, I played basketball for 10 years, really seriously as a junior in my teens. And I can tell you right now, as I look down at my feet, my Achilles have atrophied immensely. I remember having big, juicy Achilles from all the running, you can just imagine what basketball's about. But as I look right now, at my ankles, they are basically a fraction of what they were. Which is interesting, because back then I weighed 70, 75 kilos tops, really lean. I was a runner, obviously, for basketball. I was quite quick on my feet. And now I'm basically 20 kilos heavier, and my Achilles is half of the size that it feels that it was. That can't be good, man. The reason why I think it can't be good is because my general belief when it comes to tendon strength and just, soft tissue as well, is that when something goes weak, it tightens up. My father ruptured his Achilles a few years ago. That put him out for basically 6 months. He had the moon boot. He opted out not to have surgery and moon booted up, and over time he kept dropping the heel of the moon boot, and eventually kind of healed itself. But his calf looks completely different to the other one. By the way, guys, this is 180. Moved really slow. You can check it out now. Wouldn't expect anything else after yesterday. Really fatigued. Jelly legs. Yeah, sticking point, grindy. Anyway, so I know exactly what it is to rupture an Achilles. The fact that my Achilles is weak, I know it's weak because I don't use it. I don't run. I don't do any of that. I don't even do calf raises. And certainly some of my gym buddies over the years, we've had conversations about how weak our ankles are after stopping sports, So I think if you're interested in weightlifting, if you're interested in definitely ATG squatting, if you're interested in, having a good mobility, you need to think about the Achilles, because you can work on the soft tissue above it, the calf, all you want. But if the Achilles is threatening to rupture, as in it's really, really thin and weak, it's always going to be tight. So how do we strengthen the Achilles? I feel the best way to strengthen the Achilles is exactly what I did yesterday. Slow jogging, bouncing on it, because the role of a tendon basically is to shock absorb, and it's to work with the muscle that it originates from. So if there's lots of force going through it over and over again, kind of like plyometrics, the tendon gets stronger. So we know plyometrics is about making not muscle gains, but making that tissue more resilient, and more kind of springy, and more elastic. So what better way to add that than basically bouncing on your feet? I'm gonna experiment with this. I'll definitely report in and tell you guys if my dorsiflexion improves just from basic running. But right now, as I sit here, my Achilles is it's almost like it's got DOMS in it. Last night I was kind of concerned. I thought, man, did I screw myself up? But I think it's looking pretty good. And my dorsiflexion is kind of returned to normal, maybe even better this morning, just from one run, man. So I think there's something to it. That expression, the Achilles heel, it's carried over the ages, but I think there's something to it. It's the base of our being. It's the strongest tendon in the body. It's weight bearing all the time. And if you lose your Achilles, you basically go down. You can't go on. So I think the Achilles is paramount to our performance. Certainly, if you're interested in the big lifts, dorsiflexion it's critical. It's basically critical. If you maintain vertical shin angle all the time, you're basically going to be leaning over a whole bunch. You're going to be doing a low bar squat. Now, if you're a low bar squatter, that's cool. You do you. But from my point of view, I want ATG and I want high bar, and I want athleticism. So you need ankle dorsiflexion without a doubt. So in the next few weeks, I'll experiment with this and see exactly if I can purely increase my ankle health, purely just by going for a jog. I'll still thinking about this, back and forth. I'm even thinking about seated calf races right now. I know the gastrocnemius is the kind of the chief of the lower leg, but I feel like the soleus and how it's structured and how it inserts could have more of an impact on the Achilles. But anyway, that's where I'm at right now. I'm feeling tired, man. After yesterday, I'm feeling tired. So today was just going to be, a fill-out session. I'm smashing out these bloody sets of 20 GHDs, so I'm really happy about that. Back is feeling good. And yeah, off to work with me, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Peace out.